Cool. So, hi friends, this is Ankit, and I'm one of the co-founders of Dialogues. And we're bringing you this new series that we're calling an open dialogue, where we host talented people and just talk about their journey and the passions that they're pursuing. And for that chat, today we are hosting a very talented artist, and her name is Pranathi. Hi, Pranathi, how are you?
Hi Ankit, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well. And thanks a lot for giving us the time this evening for this chat. So let me just tell everyone a couple of lines about you that I know.
Okay.
So, Pranathi is a software engineer by profession
Yep.
and an artist by passion.
Yes.
And she's been pursuing art since childhood, and she dabbles with a lot of different mediums of art as well. Uh, so I'll stop myself there. And if you can just tell all our friends something about yourself.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Pranathi. I'm from Hassan, Karnataka, and I am a software engineer and I work for Accenture. So art is something that I do in my free time, and it's a hobby, part-time kind of commissioned works. I do it on weekends, and it's a passion since childhood, as Ankit's told already. So, yep, this is a short introduction about me. So I love working with acrylics, oil paint, watercolors, and I keep experimenting on different medium of paints as well.
And so how did it start for you? How did you get into art?
Okay. Uh, it was like a hobby from my childhood, and I'm a single daughter. So I used to be home alone most of the time because my parents are working. So art has been like a hobby since childhood. So I used to enjoy drawing drawings like small doodle works, and since childhood, mainly I used to do only doodles, such kind of things. But as and when I grew up and I got introduced to watercolors, acrylics, so that is when I got into art. Mostly it is because of my art teachers right from childhood. So I used to see them draw in our art class in the school. So I used to feel happy. So I used to feel like I should try something like this, and I used to come back home, try to replicate something. So that is how art. Yeah.
Nice. So I'll ask you a little bit more on a philosophical side. So what do you love so much about art? Uh, what does it mean to you?
Okay. Uh, like that. Yeah. I love traveling as well in
Okay.
that sense. So I go out, I just click pictures of few of the places. I come back and try to replicate in my art. So
Wow.
that is something I've been doing. And I've tried out some of the miniature paintings recently. So I made my own customized fridge magnet. So I have that hobby
Wow.
to collect fridge magnets wherever I go. So there are places recently I went where I couldn't find one. So I just took a pic of it and I came back and started doing this. So like that, like art is like you can call it a meditation kind of thing, which gives me
Okay.
happiness, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect answer. And my next question again. I was talking to one other friend, and there is something called a mental block. So writers call it a writer's block,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of artists call it an artist's block. So basically, when you just get stuck,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what should I do next for this painting or the art that I'm doing? So my question around that is, do you ever get into that stage? That is part one. And part two, if you do, how do you get out of it?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, when I'm drawing or painting something, I get stuck. Like
Yeah.
what to do next, on what step, or what color to use,
Mm.
such kind of things. Sometimes I take a break from art and then continue it the next day or something, than rushing in the same day with 2, 3 hours of work continuous. So next day, fresh start, I'll get fresh ideas. That's
Mm.
how I start painting. Or sometimes I ask my mom, like, how does it look? And she gives me ideas like, okay, this is not proper, change the color or something.
Yeah.
She's not into art, but yeah, she gives me best advice in terms of this when I get stuck or whenever I draw something or paint. She's the first person I show her, and she says, okay, then I take pics and then post it everywhere. That's how I.
It's good that your mother gives you honest advice,
Yeah.
because every time I draw something and even if it's crap, my mother would be like, "हाँ हाँ बेटा बहुत अच्छा बना है, बहुत अच्छा बना है." I'm like, I know this is not good. कम से कम सच तो बोलो.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, it's good, and I've seen this with a lot of
Mhm.
artists, be it in the painting field or be it writing. Uh, I get very similar answers also. Okay, अच्छा, you get a block when you're doing something on a very repetitive
Mhm.
way. So bar bar, if you keep doing it, you'll get blocked.
Yeah.
And general answer has been what you've just said. Ki take a break, take a
Yeah.
breather, and then come back to it with fresh ideas.
Yes, it's not just in art, I feel, because sometimes in our daily work also we get stuck in our programming code or something. We just
True.
go out, take a break, have some tea or something, come back, we'll get some
Yeah.
fresh ideas. That is how it works. We bang our heads on the same thing for some time. It doesn't work that way.
Let me ask you, do your workmates or colleagues, they get jealous? Ki Pranati, at least you have art to fall back to, while we have to just keep coding or keep doing data analysis.
Uh, I have got positive comments,
Yeah,
but I don't know if they are getting jealous or something. But yeah,
yeah,
some of the colleagues they really support my artwork. So when
yeah,
I go to office and all, they just praise me. It is good, and many of them do ask me like, "Why don't you gift us paintings?" That is also there
yeah,
in colleagues. So yeah, most of the time, so yeah, I'll be busy with my office work. So
yeah.
whenever I get time, I do this. Mostly in the weekends, it'll be the art classes or something new which I want to try out, like that.
And do they ask, Ki Pranati, why don't you teach us as well, or they just ask for free paintings?
Yep, they do ask me, and there are few of my friends those have started drawing and painting like from
Yeah,
scratch. They didn't know anything, but they
wow.
had a lot of interest. Like they wanted to learn something, so I
Yeah,
just guide them whenever they need some help. Like what should we buy to start doing it, and I just give them few simple paintings to start with because I can't go with a complex one since it's their
yeah.
first time. So I guide them. There are a couple of people who had started drawing and
Mm.
painting. So those are the good things.
Oh wow, that's great. So let me ask you, as a novice or as a lot of people who also wonder, कि, I want to paint, I want to start somewhere. Uh, what are those first, some 2 3 steps, as a domain expert? If you can just tell us, कि, अच्छा, if someone just wants to get started, these are the steps that you should maybe
Okay,
take.
first thing is you should have an interest to start.
Okay.
Second thing is most of them complain me about time. We don't have time. We are
Yeah.
busy and everything. So when you have interest, you get that time automatically. I don't know. Somehow you make that time.
Yeah.
So, coming to if you want to start with acrylics, I would suggest you to start with those bottled paints, which we get in Fevicryl or fabric paints, those,
Yeah.
and start with something simpler, like not with multiple layer of paintings, just a simple landscape kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
landscape, it's fine. It's like hills or tree that can be like any shape that doesn't require like you should draw it in a specific way. So that is how you start it. So in the beginning, I would suggest buy some canvas and basic paints, not the very costly ones.
Yeah.
Basic paints and like our camlin brushes, like flat and round brush. Two to three of them is more than enough when you're starting.
Okay.
So start with a painting which is very simple. That is what I suggest my friends as well.
Okay.
So which has only single layer of paint, not that you will not know at the beginning like how to mix colors, how to paint on top of color.
Hmm.
So start with a basic layer and then you can proceed with it and you can explore more and do a research on what you guys want to paint like that.
Yeah. There you go. So if you guys are wondering here, where to get started, if you're at point zero, there were some really good suggestions from Pranathi. And if you do still feel I don't know where to start, maybe you can join one of our workshops that we are hosting. So one of them is coming up on Saturday in the morning time. So acrylic painting workshop in case you guys are wondering where to get started. So Pranathi, let me ask you, have you been following other artists in the field as well?
Yep. Yeah. I do admire few of the artists. Like in oil paint, if you ask me, Bob Ross, I think most of them have heard of his name.
Yeah.
So he's expert in field of oil painting. So that is when I started following him. Like I wanted to try out oil paints, which is completely different from acrylics. Acrylics is
Okay.
something which is like easier compared to oil paints if you put it in that way, because oil paint takes like a lot of time to dry up, and we use a different medium to wash our brushes and even to mix our colors and all. So I didn't know what to do, how to do, so I started watching his videos. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. Started researching on like what kind of brushes we need to use. So Bob Ross is one of them, and there is one person called Felix. So
Okay.
I follow him for acrylic paintings. So he has his own brand of acrylic paints as well. So those two are the people that I currently follow.
Very nice. And so, what work do you enjoy most? Like, what kind of medium or what work is your favorite? Oil or
Um,
acrylic or something else?
yep. Favorite one is acrylics. Current favorite one is acrylics. This keeps on
Okay.
changing my interest. So
Yeah.
yeah, current favorite is acrylics for me.
Nice. And why?
Yep, one reason is it dries out faster
Okay.
because I don't have to wait for a week to
Yeah.
paint next layer. So this I can do it in a day or two. It gets
Okay.
dried up easily, but yeah,
Mm.
it takes sometimes time. Like I stop painting and then start it in the next day like that. So acrylics is yeah, something I love to work with,
Mhm.
and it is like uh, once you start painting you don't have to wait, and like you can start painting on the layers after 5-10 minutes like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And we
Yeah.
have many bottled acrylic paints as well as tube acrylic paints.
Yeah.
So I prefer both. Sometimes I go with only tube paints.
Okay.
So if someone wants to start with acrylic, so there is difference between these two
Hmm.
paints. Like bottled ones, it is already mixed with water, so many people doesn't know it, and they mix the bottled ones in the palette with water, and their painting will be very transparent. You can see the canvas from their painting. That is one
Okay.
mistake most of them make.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if I go with the tube paints, I usually go for knife painting. So if you
Uh
want to
huh.
do a knife painting, then tube paints are the must needed colors.
Okay.
For the knife painting, if someone is going with the bottled ones, right?
Uh
So
huh.
that doesn't suit your knife painting. We won't see the knife strokes.
Hmm.
So that is how I differentiate my colors when I'm selecting acrylics.
Yeah.
And it is easy to clean your brushes when
Okay.
compared to oil paints. So
Yeah.
that is one of the main reasons. So easily you can wash it with your water, not like you want
Yeah.
that odorless thinner or linseed
Hmm.
oil, something like that.
Okay.
So it is all readily available in home, and you can just paint, clean everything, and keep it aside.
Makes sense. And is are there like specific uh, kind of themes that you like to pursue currently,
Oh,
at least?
yeah. Yeah, so I love landscapes. So
Okay.
mostly I play around painting landscapes. Like sometimes it will be only ocean, sometimes it will be just the trees and the mountains, like
Yeah.
that. Mostly it is all landscapes I try. I'm very much interested in that. Here
Yeah.
and there I go with other uh, like forms, but it is mostly, yeah, landscapes are my favorite and I love to explore them.
So, and it is a similar theme that we'll be following for the workshop that is coming up, if I'm not
Oh,
wrong.
yes, yep. It's, yeah, on the 5th we have a workship, so it is
Yeah.
a landscape, yeah.
It's a landscape. I think it's a lake and a forest, some and ducks
Yes,
and
yep.
yeah.
Trees, lake, and small swans in front of them.
Okay.
Yep.
And you also do your like background research, like you mentioned before. If someone wants to start
Mm-hmm.
painting, they should do some research.
Yeah.
What kind of research that? What's the kind of research? Sorry, is it that you do when you're doing?
Okay. Yep. First research would be like, should I start painting on a canvas or should it be some paper or a drawing sheet? Nowadays we get canvas pads that contains like canvas cloth inside it, not the paper. So that is very much suited, and I usually go with the canvas that is already primed. That I make sure always, because I don't have to paint a layer of white before I start painting. Already primed ones that I use. So this is the research I do, and I have tried out with different forms before starting it with a canvas pad. We get something called as acrylic papers,
Mhm.
and there are different sizes in that, like 200 gsm, 400 gsm, like that. It depends on the thickness and
Yeah.
the texture of the paper. So I have tried in all the three, and then I choose the best one when I go for painting. Like
Okay.
when I paint the bigger ones, I go for
Yeah.
something like a good canvas board that is double
Okay.
primed, or you get single prime, double primed, like that. So
Mhm.
that is the research in terms of medium I start painting. And
Okay.
then coming to colors, like whichever brand you use, that's fine. But as I said earlier, like water-based paints and our tube-based paints, I choose it depending on the drawing which I am
Okay.
going to do next.
Hmm.
So that is how I do my research.
Wow. So it's not as easy as just looking at something and just pick up a brush and a paint. Like there
Mhm.
is a lot of background work that goes into reproducing
Yeah.
some. Wow.
Yes.
Didn't know that. And I'm sure you've done many paintings,
Mhm.
and uh, obviously getting feedback
Yes.
is always important. But has there been some memorable moments where something that you some feedback that you really remember? Oh wow, this was great. Maybe positive, maybe negative, but
Mhm.
some memories that stick out.
Yep. Feedback, yes, mostly when I post something, there are a couple of people who always ping me, this is so good and all. And mostly nowadays, I'm getting things like, seeing your paintings, we feel like starting our drawing again. We
Wow.
haven't touched our drawing book since childhood, and all. People ping me like that. So that is one thing. And in my previous, like last year, there was a workshop in which
Okay.
my mom was a part of workshop. Just
Wow.
she came in just to see, but then she was like, "Can I also join?" So she joined. That was her first time, and she was really happy to try out painting. So whenever
Did
I
you
do
charge
paint,
her for it?
yeah,
Did you charge her?
no, no. In home when I draw, she never comes in like I wanted to
Okay.
try and all. So there she was like, "Can I try?" So
Yeah.
we had that session and it was really good. She was happy with the painting. That is one good memory I have.
Wow.
And yeah, sometimes like my college or school lecturers and teachers, they ping me in Facebook saying, "Still you are continuing this. That's really good," and all. So that is something I really liked it.
Wow. And um So let's talk about future a little bit. Do you do you see yourself professionally taking this forward, being an artist,
Mhm.
or is this, or you see this as a passion project?
Professionally, yes, that is a long-term goal.
Okay,
But as of now, I don't want to leave the job which I'm currently pursuing as a
okay,
software engineer. So
yeah,
I'm making time so that I don't leave both of them
okay,
as of now. Yeah, as a long term, yeah, that is there on the back of my head. That is there always. So
yeah.
let's see how it goes.
And and have you got because every artist
Mm-hmm.
or every talented individual that I talk to, they always have, some dream project
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
that they want to finish. So have you got something like that in mind? And if yes, if
Mm-hmm.
you would, if you are comfortable enough to share that here.
Yep. That is there. Like I want to start a gallery of my own. That is
Okay.
something that's in mind.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have that gallery set up in Instagram or Facebook, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
not
digital gallery right now.
virtually. I have it as of now.
Yeah.
That is a goal or a dream, you can tell that I have it in mind. So I'm working
Even
towards it.
your Facebook page is called Pranathi's Gallery, right?
Yep, correct.
Acha, okay. The name is already there.
Yeah,
Everything is set up virtually.
virtually, yeah, everything is ready. So yeah, let's see. Hope so in the future.
Awesome.
I can do this.
Definitely. The way you are going, and I guess the feedback and all the work that you're doing in
Mm.
this field. And the best part, I feel, is because you've been able to motivate so
Mhm.
many people to pick up a brush and start painting. That in itself, I feel is an achievement. So yeah, well done for that.
Thank you.
And so yeah, just letting everyone know, okay, in case you want to learn uh, uh, the tips and tricks on acrylic painting and follow Pranathi step by step, we do have a workshop coming up. And having said that, I think that brings us to the end of our chat for
Yeah.
the evening. And again, I would like to thank Pranathi for taking out the time, because I think everyone knows the work from home has increased a lot of work.
Yep, that's true.
But so thanks for taking out the time on a weekday evening for us. And thanks for talking to us. Thanks for letting us know about your journey, about your memorable experiences, and a few tips and tricks here and there of when to use bottle paint, when to use tube paint, and a lot of things about acrylic painting itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Thank
I would
you
like to,
for your
uh,
time and for the dialogues, for having me over here and giving me the opportunity for talented people. And I see you guys are promoting many of the artists. This is the good platform to start with for an artist because I see many of them are good at painting or drawing, but they don't get a platform to pursue this. So this is really good. Thank you.
it's always a pleasure. We get to learn so much, and it's amazing to see individuals like yourself just taking out that time because it's something that you mentioned.
Mhm.
If you're passionate about something, you will make time for it. Like, you can't keep saying I don't have time.
Yes.
uh, if you want to really do something, you will time for it. But yeah, and very well said. So that brings us to the end of today's chat. Again, thank you so much, Pranathi. It was a pleasure talking to you this evening.
Yep. Same here. Thank you.
Take care.